Welcome to Celebration Conversations. I'm your host, Sarah Taylor Young. Join me each week as I share inspirational conversations with fellow co-writers, artists, and friends. Here at Celebration Conversations, it is my hope that you will find motivation and celebration in your own story. Let's get to it. Hey guys, this week I am with Bradt Carmichael. Brandt is an up-and-coming country rocker based out of Nashville, Tennessee. Born and raised in northern Indiana, Brandt cut his teeth playing local fairs, festivals, and clubs. After years of hard work, time, and dedication, Brandt has carved out a cool country rock sound, performing upwards of 100 dates per year, conquering stages around the country, leaving crowds wanting more. Brandt certainly packs a punch with his country southern rock roots. Follow him on Instagram at Bradt Carmichael Music. Visit his website at www.brandtcarmichaelmusic.com. All right, I am here today with Bradt Carmichael. How are you doing today, Brandt? Nice to have you.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So tell me how old you are, where you're from, and what you do, all that jazz.
Well, I'm 19. I just moved to Nashville about a year and a half ago. I'm a singer-songwriter, musician. I play guitar, drums, piano, just about anything I can get my hands on. And I just trying to grind it out and hopefully find some success along the way. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Congrats on moving to Nashville. That's always a big move, I hear, for everybody. Tell me how old you were when you started like really pursuing music or just kind of maybe dabbling in it.
Well, to be honest, it's never really been a question on if I'm going to pursue it or not. I mean, I started playing drums and guitar when I was about 5 or 6,
Wow.
and ever since then, I mean, it's really been just game on. I started playing talent shows and playing nursing homes and anywhere I could get out and play music up in north central Indiana. I grew up just outside of a town of a little over 1,000 people. So definitely grew up in a small town and just tried to get out and play anywhere and everywhere I could. I started getting the band out and getting really serious when I was about 12 or 13.
Wow. Okay. So tell me a little bit about when you started songwriting.
So I started writing songs right around age 12, just really needed to get serious and wanting to learn how to write songs just for my own peace of mind. It's like if you're going to be serious about it, you got to write your own songs. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me a little bit about your own process of writing and what all that entails for you. Everybody's got their own process, I know.
Well, I know I'm probably doing it the wrong way, but for me, what works best for me is normally on my own. I'll come up with an idea, maybe a hook, maybe just a good anchor, just starting point of, hey, this is where I want this to go. And it normally takes me just sitting down in a room with my guitar, and I normally work out the instrumental first.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard that there are some people who are really good with melody, and then there's some people who are really good with lyric writing. So would you say that melody is kind of your forte, pun intended?
Melody is definitely my strong suit. I'm Over the years, I'm starting to find that I'm, like say in a co-write, I'm gonna be more of the off the cuff freestyle kind of guy who's just gonna kind of fall into the idea or fall into the line more so than being able to just drive home the lyrics more so than just I'm just gonna fall right into what I want.
Sure. So tell me a little bit about your heroes. Who do you look up to? Who are your artists that you admire?
Okay, so like as far as what I grew up on was 70s, 80s rock. I love the 80s rock bands. I grew up on like Def Leppard and Motley Crue and Poison, all those fun bands. You know, in my teenage years, I got into a lot of 90s and 2000s country, you know, Jason Aldean, just tons of stuff. I listen to everything. That's something that I do have trouble with some of my friends, you know, because they're set on one genre or one sound, and I'll legit just sit down and listen to anything. You know, I try to find something good in all the different kinds of music for sure. But I do have some favorite songwriters, and you know, I do have my own personal taste that I really indulge in for sure.
Yeah. Tell me about some of your favorite songwriters.
Okay, so got to give a shout out to a local hometown boy up here in Indiana, Dan Couch. That dude's been awesome. He has 15 plus cuts with Kip Moore and Kanan Smith and all sorts of guys out there. He's a great writer and a great man, and he's definitely taught me a lot over my past couple years coming down to Nashville and hanging out.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Tell me about why you felt this itch to write songs. Was there something maybe you were going through in life, or just it was a thing that helped you process stuff? The podcast is Celebration Conversations. So I always want to talk about something maybe you've celebrated in your life through music.
I've always thought that music is my way of expressing my feelings and getting out, you know, emotions that I just need to get out that sometimes you just can't get out through words. So I mean that it's my guitar has always been my best friend. You know, if I had a great day, if I had a terrible day, a bad day, I've always been able to come home, pick up my guitar, or sit down behind a drum kit, or you know, write a song and just feel better. Writing songs, there's no better feeling than being able to sit down and work something out or tell a story about maybe what you've been going through and have it come out into 3.5 minutes. So
Yeah, that's awesome. You sound just like my dad, actually. He would say the same thing. So tell me about maybe something that you feel like you've conquered with music or celebrating victory with.
well, I have been able to give back to my community through music, and that's something I've always been very passionate about. Back in 2013, I started a annual benefit concert for a local homeless shelter, and we ended up through the 4 or 5 years we done that show. We ended up raising well over $10,000.
Wow.
We put 300 or 400 people in the seats every year, and we do a can drive and food drive and all that, and we were able to help a lot of people through that. We've also been able to do a lot of benefit concerts and just charity work over the years, and I feel that music is my way of giving back. So.
Sure. Awesome. That's great. Tell me about how you play a lot of shows outside and festivals and things I saw. Tell me about how you got started with all that. Not really started with music, but how does somebody say they're just starting out as an artist and they want to get a following? How did you get started with doing live shows?
I personally think that the best way is just to get out and do it. You know, as far as getting started, take every opportunity you can. You know, that's the key thing. You know, when I first started playing, I was doing nursing homes and talent shows and, you know, benefits, and just we played the Relay for Life. Well, that was like one of my first shows, and yeah, that it was like an all night thing. We got to hang out and play music, and just taking every opportunity you can, I think is key. And you know, the benefit shows, they turned into paying shows, and the paying shows turned into growing a following, which allowed us to get even bigger shows. Now we're at the point where, we've been playing, consecutively over the past 4 or 5 years. We've covered 8 and 9 different states, playing fairs, festivals, clubs, that sort of thing. You got to start small, and you got to walk before you can run. And we're trying to get running. That's for sure. We're trying to get flying. That's what I want.
Yeah. So what would you like to see happen, say, in the next 5 years? COVID free, hopefully.
COVID free. Wow, that's that would be a miracle all on its own right there. 2020 has just knocked the wind out of my sail. I'll tell you what, we started 2020 with a calendar full of dates. Things were looking great, and with everything that's happened, everything's either got moved to next year. We're really praying that next year we should be back to normal. But as far as what I look for in the next 5 years or even 10 years, I mean, I'll be 20 next week. So
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So, I mean, in the next 5 to 10 years, I would love to, hopefully make the right connections and make the right friends, just to, maybe get a cut, maybe get, more road dates and be able to spend more time on the road, which is what I truly love. I love being on the road, going to new cities, playing for new people and new places. And I personally love that aspect more than anything.
How does one, like, after nursing homes, walk me through this process of how you get booked for shows? Or do you just say, hey, I want to play at your thing? Or do you, what do you do on socials? What are some tips and tools?
I do have a really good support team behind me. My mom and dad and my grandparents, everybody's been so supportive from day one. And that's a lot of the key to success, But for me, it mainly started with just reaching out to people, having a good social media web presence, having good clips and good recordings of what you do, and starting out, even figuring out what it is that you do, and what you do best and what you excel at, and your strong points and your weak points, and finding out what kind of act you want to take out. For me and my country rock show, I love to play guitar. I get up there and I'm just wanting to be, country Van Halen or something,
Oh, that would be a sight. You should do that for Halloween.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it? But just starting out, having a good web presence, reach out to people. In the first of the year, we still send out, I'd say, anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 emails.
Wow.
Just reaching out, and you may get a couple emails back. You may get a few hundred emails back. You never know, and it doesn't matter as long as they open it up and they take a look. Maybe somebody will click on a video, and that's just one more person that got to hear what you're trying to do, or hear your song or something like that. So that's a key thing, is just being visible, making yourself known, play as much as you can, take every opportunity that comes up.
What I hear you saying basically don't give up if you're really passionate about it. What would you say to that person who's maybe saying, oh, this is just a waste of my time, I'm not making any money out of it, it's just not going anywhere? What would you say to that person?
Well, I would say, the biggest corporations in the world started in a basement or a garage.
Facebook.
Facebook, Microsoft, Apple. Don't give up is a great way to look at it. The best piece of advice I've gotten is, it's a marathon. It's not an overnight success thing. Nobody is an overnight success. They're a 10, 15 year overnight success. So, I mean, if you truly love what you do and you're truly passionate about it, then you got to chase that dream. I myself never want to be the guy sitting at the Applebee's talking about how cool I was at like 19 and how I could have been something. You know, I don't want to look back and have regrets. So, I mean, live every day to the fullest, practice, practice, keep practicing. I would love to know how many hours I spent in my parents' basement, rattling the walls, vibrating the floors.
Yeah, right there with you. I remember at my mom's house when I was growing up, I was a teenager, about your age actually, and I would just, the bathroom was my favorite place to practice because the acoustics in that room are just amazing.
Verb, yes.
Yes. So she would be outside watering her plants, okay? Outside. And she could hear me from my bathroom on the other side of the wall, which was brick.
That's awesome.
It's just those sounds, it's just amazing. So let's switch gears for a little bit. Since you do play mainly festivals and outdoor shows, what does that look like this year with COVID?
Well, yeah. Well, we've done a handful of parking lot shows.
Okay.
We were able to play the Mockingbird Theater in Franklin, and that was a blast. That was our latest show, and that it really was the closest thing to normal we've had all year. Yeah, I had a couple flyaway dates back in February, and once we got back from that is when the whole COVID thing started to take off, and the big national acts started canceling their tours. So it's like, if they're canceling their dates, well, ours are next. So I think we're gonna round off our year with 5 live shows.
Okay, that's good. That's still good.
Well, I mean, when we're normally doing upwards of 75 and 100 dates a year, I've been doing way more sitting around than what I ever do and what I should be doing. And I'll be honest, it's been a year for us.
Yeah.
I can definitely speak for myself when I say it just my whole world got flipped upside down. In the early part of the year, we had such high hopes, and what was finally starting to get the ball rolling, and things were coming together, and it looked like it was going to be a great year. And I just feel like we got sucker punched.
Yeah. So, like a lot of artists, like yourself, musicians, artists alike, they're finding themselves at home doing a lot of nothing. What are you doing during this time? Are you practicing? Are you trying to catch up on things that you didn't have time to do before? What are you using this time for?
Well, I do gotta admit, I've been sitting around more than what I ever should be, but you know, I I've been doing some projects at home. We've I just rescued a dog last week, so now I'm looking at building a fence and just doing some projects around the house and just kind of helping out and finding stuff to do. But in the early part of the year, I was pretty lost. I mean, for a guy who was working out 5, 6, even 7 days a week, gearing up for a summer full of tours, that's my whole motivation. Hey, you got to be in shape, ready to go for these shows coming up. And overnight, gyms are closed, no more shows, no more writers' nights, no more Bluebird Cafe or Commodore Grill or anything like that. It was definitely tough. Definitely tough.
Yeah, so I know that that they are opening slightly. they're doing masks and things,
Right.
and they're doing maybe gloves and things for servers and all that. So are you starting to see a glimmer of hope with that kind of happening?
Yeah, we've I've finally been able to get out and play a couple rounds, and things are starting to somewhat feel normal again. So I mean, it's a great feeling. It's been such a long year.
Yeah, you're telling me. It seems like everybody I talk to about COVID, like it's just affected everybody so much. I know for me, the spring was true hell. Not just because of COVID, like, well, we found out my daughter had a slight speech delay, which was, as a mom, catches you off guard by surprise. And then shortly after that, my grandmother died. My grandmother, she was my closest grandparent. And that was when COVID was starting to come about, so she raised half of Crossville, Tennessee. Okay. And hardly anybody came to her funeral because of COVID. And, she was one of those people where the place would have been packed if it wasn't COVID. And then the weekend following, my husband lost his job with COVID related stuff. So it's just, how do you get through that?
I wish I had the answers. I all I can say is it's just faith, and just try and look forward for a better tomorrow, or at this point a better next year.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm finding as a creative, it's given me a lot more time to do creative things and to just kind of pour out. And, I have more time to devote to my podcast, and more time to devote to my life as a mom and husband. So you just take it what you can and just keep going, make every day count. So what are some performing and or songwriting tips you would give to maybe budding artists or songwriters?
As far as songwriting, just write more, write as much as you can. I myself am not a guy who can just go crank out a song and every day. I got to kind of build up some inspiration, or just live a little and then try and write about it. As far as playing and doing the live show thing, make every moment count. When you're on stage, you need to be there in the moment. No phones, no music stands. Have your parts memorized, because I think that people get so distracted nowadays so easily. Don't put a bigger distraction on the stage. So I am totally against charts and music stands and all that. Have your stuff memorized and just be able to connect with the audience, and put on a show, where I think a lot of guys get lost in putting together a set list and learning songs, and they forget that we're here to put on a show. We're here to perform. So I think that's a whole nother side of it that a lot of people kind of forget about.
True, true. Those are some great tips. Great tips. What about some songwriting tips?
I prefer to write about things that I know about. I I try not to write about things that I haven't experienced myself, or I I can't write about truth. I would suggest write what write about what you've been through. Everybody has a story, and who could tell your story better than you?
That's good. That's good. So what is it like co-writing for you? Have you done a lot of co-writing in Nashville? What are some of your favorite?
I have done a few co-writes. I've had maybe one or two, fairly successful ones. Yeah, we got a song, but I myself, I tend to have better luck writing on my own. And I know that's totally backwards of the Nashville way and what we're supposed to be doing. But for me, where I'm at right now, maybe I just haven't got into the right circle. But I tend to have better luck just writing on my own time at my own pace. So, but I'm hoping that changes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've heard that Nashville is the 10-year town, as my mentor Shuri Spoltori. You should look up Global Songwriters Connection. They really helped me a lot with songwriting and getting co-writes and meeting people in Nashville and everything. So we'd love to have you. What would you say has been your favorite release for your career, and why?
Well, it's always the last thing that I put out, because I feel like you work on something, you listen to it so much, and then a year later you have something new, and it's just way better. I'm telling you, it's way better. So it's always the latest thing, because I feel like I get older and the songs mature over time. So I would have to say probably my latest release, which was a 12-song album, One Horse Town. And I mean, all of those songs, I just come from, my life experiences. And, that's, as far as a favorite song off of that, I'd probably have to say Catching a Buzz, just because that was the first song that I recorded at home and then took to a studio to finish. And the song there was just something special about it in the recording process. And, we've actually been fortunate enough to get a few stations to pick it up and play it, and people are listening to it. So that was the first song that we were recorded off the album. That I believe that was probably my first song. Probably the first song I think I wrote once I got to Nashville. So
Okay, very cool. Yeah, I listened to that song, by the way. Very, very catchy, very cool. I think that song it's made for everybody, I think. So, which is good for you.
Well, my goal when I try to write a song, I try to write something in this little 3.5-minute window.
Right.
Something catchy, something that, okay, the guys at the bar are going to sing along to, and the girls on the dance floor want to dance to. I mean, that's my goal. I think it's everybody's goal. But just to write something that somebody's going to remember, that they're going to start humming on their drive home.
Yes. So any really serious, kind of tense subject matter do you see yourself doing?
I mean, I've been trying to, to definitely dig deeper into, just more real subjects. I don't get political. I don't mix politics with music. I think those are worlds that are separate and should stay separate. I'm not about that, because I don't have a fix for the problem, so I don't want to talk about it.
Very well said. Yes.
And as far as a song with a deeper meaning, I have a song "Old School," and it's just about how the old school way of looking at things. I grew up in a small town, where guys and gals still learned respect, and still respected their elders and held doors for people, and people just done their best to do people right. And I feel like in a lot of places that's kind of being forgotten about.
I think that's a song title in and of itself. Done your best to do people right. Yeah.
Oh, let's write it. Let's
I totally agree with you on the politics stuff. It's just gotten crazy, out of hand. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that stuff dying down after the election.
I feel like COVID had a lot to do with it. People
Heck yeah.
being cooped up, and definitely agitated, but I gotta tell you, there for a few weeks, I didn't even want to get on Facebook and see just the hatred that people are just, putting out there to the public. It's like, I don't know, but to me, I'm not gonna hate somebody because they feel differently than I do, and I don't think they should hate me because I feel different than they do. So I I don't get the problem. So I just choose to ignore it altogether and let people do their thing and post what they want to post. So I just had to stay off social media for a while.
I don't blame you for that one bit. I just don't understand sometimes, especially in the Christian community. Like those can be some of the most hateful, and it's like, you guys know better. We know better.
Right.
Like you're supposed to be one of the most loving, and so there's just a balance, I think. One of my dad's best songs, I think, was Hillbilly Shoes. Montgomery Gentry cut it. It was actually their first single. Do you know Montgomery Gentry?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. The biggest message to me from that song was, don't judge me until you walk a mile in my shoes. And that was actually on a plaque in my great aunt's house, and that's where that song came from. So it was a big hit. But I think people are just, with politics right now, we shouldn't judge people because everybody, it's like a thumbprint. Everybody's got their own walk of life. Everybody's got their own experiences. So one thing might be good for somebody, one thing might not be good for another person, just don't judge them until you walk a mile in their shoes.
Absolutely. That's a great story.
Well, it was so great to meet you and to connect with you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey there, don't go just yet. I would love if you connected with me on Instagram. Come find me at ST Young Music. Follow Brandt on Instagram at Bradt Carmichael Music. Visit his website at www.brandtcarmichaelmusic.com. Be sure to check out his latest release, One Horse Town, on iTunes.
That's how we do it in a one-horse town. That's how we